Folks, welcome back to y'all to another MJae podcast, y'all, where we follow faith, love, and lifestyle. It is our lifestyle, y'all. We just ask you to stay positive, y'all. Keep your faith up, oh God. Keep your faith up. Keep your mental up. Don't let nothing steer you or turn you away. Always stay focused and always work on your purpose. So what you got going on, Jay?
I really don't have too much. How about you? What you got going on your end?
Nothing much. Just chilling. Just chilling. We just But is it about to be the end of Black History, I believe?
Yeah, we got like a week left, maybe less than that.
So what I really want to talk about, since it's about to be the end of Black History, I really want to go over this thing that people feel like they got to talk about or discuss when it comes to Black History, and
Hmm.
that is slavery. Um, Not only slavery, but just our tribulations as a people. People feel like they have to bring up our turmoil or our tribulations, and it seems like it's almost celebrated. We are reminded of our tribulations or of our trials or of our turmoils almost like every year or every second or every chance they get, they remind us of our turmoil. Uh, I would like to ask you what you think about that. What you think? What's the reason for that? And for me to answer the question, I think the reason for that is not only in remembrance, but also it puts us in a mindset of bondage. It puts us in a mindset of reminding us we are slave and we are nothing but slaves, and it put us in a mindset of depression. Uh, and I feel like it's a manipulation or a process of a way to keep us down as a people. What you think?
I don't really think too or plan too much on that. I think what I read a post somewhere. I don't recall where it came from, but it basically stated that you learn about Black History Month based on, I guess, we learn about Black History Month in school, but determine what, if you went to an all black school or if you went to a school that was predominantly white, that determined how much of your history you learned about and what it revolves around.
What you mean?
And what I mean by that is, let's say you went to a predominantly white school or you lived in the suburbs or whatever. And it was funny because he was like, if it's three black kids within the school, then they only gonna spend 3 days on Black History Month to
Hmm.
dissect it and talk about things of Black history. Whereas if you go to a school that's predominantly black, they're gonna spend the whole month talking about Black history, which may go more so into like slavery, starting off with that, or the projections of different things. It's just all about where you at and what those individuals know, how much they know
I
of
hear
the
what you.
truth.
I hear what you're saying, but I still feel like, based on the system we live in, they have a certain certain dialogue or certain doctrine that wants to be teaching in school. Like you have to teach them this, you have to teach them that, you have to teach them this. Like history, history is controlled, or history or information is controlled based on who's ever in power. And what I mean by in power, who's in rulership, meaning who's ever in control of the government or the people that's in control of the government or the system. So I feel like no matter what, unless you are I don't know how independent school goes, but I know for home schools, I guess you are. you have like a school of your own, or if you are independent
Charter.
or charter, yeah, maybe you have a little more leeway. But I feel like no matter what, because the doctrine or the program or whatever haven't been changed, so the school system hasn't been changed in so long. I feel
Since
like
the beginning.
you go over the same thing over and over and over again. And when it comes to black history, it's like everything starts with slavery, or so-called black history. It's like everything starts with slavery. When in fact, when it comes to so-called black history, it started way before that. I'm not even talking about with Africa, but I'm talking about in Europe, and because we're everywhere. As you can see, I use a basketball player for Giannis. Giannis is a Greek. Like we're all around the world, and we always use all them people that came from Africa and who brought in bondage. But I even use myself with my family. My family was Native American, mixed in with the Europeans that traveled from here. But we never discuss about those things because all we know is about, okay, they took a bunch of people on a boat. Which, how can you take a over what would you say million or billion people on what a couple of boats and bring them from Africa? There's more to it. So for us to be always reminded of our tribulation or of that, and the fact is, every nation, every society, every uh, race been through some kind of form of slavery, but nobody's reminded of that more than us. I don't see a Jewish history day or history month. I don't see a Caucasian history month, or I don't see nobody else celebrating that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their
No,
turmoil.
I agree with what you're saying.
Not that I'm not proud of who I am, but
Well, you don't identify yourself as African American or black, so of course it will look different to you. Honestly, in my opinion, you have no say so in how it should look or what others how they should celebrate.
mhm.
Now, for someone who does not identify as that, come looking at it, it can probably be like, well, dang, why do they get this whole
It's
month?
not only coming from that. It's also thinking thinking about the future. Okay, yes, that happened.
Hmm.
And like I said, every nation, every race of people been through a form of slavery.
Yes.
But for us, and it's like nowadays it's mentally.
Hmm.
Nowadays it's mentally. So for us to keep being reminded of that, nobody else, no other nation, no other race is reminded of their tribulation over and over. It's almost like it's programmed.
No, I agree with. And again, I'm
So
agreeing.
what I'm saying is, how can we move forward if we always reminded, oh, you a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave, and you keep on saying the same thing over and over again. Sooner or later, it's gonna get stuck in our head.
Well, that it's already stuck and it's already programmed, and you have
So
to
you come
know
out
where
the you
you
come out the
coming.
you come out the womb, I'm a slave.
You have to know where you came from to know where you're going. Now, the stuck component is something that people who do identify as black or African American have to figure out. Well, okay, because honestly, certain generations are already at the point where they're just tired of hearing that same old sad story. So now it's like, okay, well, what do we do now to move forward? So that goes back to what I was saying. Depending on where you, because you're taught this at a young age. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you attend school, if you're homeschool, how your home upbringing or whatever is, that's where the information, the right information, needs to be instilled into you. Certain schools don't just dwell on slavery, even if they understand that might be, yeah, we came from slavery or this or that, whatever the case may be. That's not what they're dwelling on. They are now. I do think, and I the civil rights movement is a key point for all of us of where we started here in America for our time today. Whereas we have generations who marched and was a part of that civil rights movement, and who need to be honored, who names not even mentioned. And then we have other movements that have taken place past that, and just things like Black culture, Black African American, whatever. We are excelling, and we do need to celebrate the excelling that we're doing. However, I think in certain cases, some it's getting it, but yeah.
Like I'm just saying, like, okay, yes, slavery happened, but we don't even talk about we don't even talk about when we was kings and queens, like the times before that. We don't talk about when we was kings and queens. We don't even talk about the Renaissance times when we was in rulership in Rome. We don't talk about that. We don't even, like I said, we don't even talk about uh when we was dominant in this area when family was a big thing in our society in our race.
And that goes back to the civil rights movement
Like
and
Wall Street, like the
yeah,
Wall Street, and like we don't talk about it's Harriet Tubman and slavery,
yeah,
slavery. So I'm
like
like,
post
my
all of
goodness,
that. And I agree. Like the Black Wall Street definitely needs to be taught because we can rebuild that, we can redo that
definitely
and
can. We
create
definitely
it
can.
because we are the number one consumers in this world.
Number one consumers, meaning we spend the most money out of any race, any nationality, any nation. Basically, we help them grow.
Exactly. But then it goes to a key where it's like, okay, well, we go to Black owned businesses and people want to look out for a handout or they feel like they're getting jibbed because they're getting price higher or this and that. Before it was a trend of going to Black owned businesses. Some people, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say that.
Black owned businesses, putting our money into I guess black owned businesses
Yes,
and growing
and
them.
I think that's kind of where we're trying to get to. But then you have some. It's always gonna be a side of I'm pro black. I'm this, I'm that, and it's always gonna be a side of man. I don't know. Like it's gonna be that.
The problem with that, the problem with that is when it comes to our own thing, it's almost like don't get me wrong here. Please hear me out. We as a people have done so much for America, or we as people have done so much for the world. Period. We as people have done so much. When I'm talking about as people, I'm talking about the so-called black community have done so much for the world. It's ridiculous. But the problem is we don't own any of it. Our fashion, our style, our swag. We don't own any of it, and we always selling out for their paper.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just own it, and keep it for ourselves, then also another thing when it comes to us as people, we don't like we don't like giving our money to our people, or shall I say, supporting our people. We don't like to support our people because of that program. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's where it comes to with go back to the black business owned, where people is like, well, dang, when it comes to my business, you want to look for me to give you a
Discount.
discount, or you thinking I'm
Or
charging too
I should be
much,
giving for
or
free. I should be doing it for free.
yeah, where you'll go somewhere else and do it. You ain't asking them for
You ain't
nothing.
asking for no discount or what, no nothing. You just giving. You just spending. So like I said, the reason I bring that up because I think it's a mental problem which goes into what you want to talk about.
So I do think it plays on our mental. I think it yeah, it's something that plays on our mental. I don't have the answers. I don't know like how.
Mental, spirit,
Yeah, it
all
plays
of
on
it.
it all because mentally and spiritually that's intertwined to me. Those intertwine with one another.
They all intertwine one another because they all got to deal with one another.
Hmm.
So it's but the battle first starts mentally. The battle first starts mentally. So if you can control your mental, you can control everything else.
That's
I
good.
think, the way I think when I wake up, the way I think when I wake up, if I believe it's going to be a good day, I can make myself feel like it's going to be a good day. I can make myself feel good, and my day will turn out good. Meaning, I have control over how I feel, how I think. I have control over those things, and based on my mental uh, and how I think, I can actually have those. I can make those things happen.
Yes.
I can so manifest into like people like to say manifest.
That's what I was about to go into. So the manifesting, and we'll have another thing about that. But yeah. So I think it does play into your person's mental health. Where I wanted to go to and drive it onto mental health is your boy Kanye. He been in social media.
I gotta be my boy.
For the past week or maybe more so. And so every time something with Kanye comes up, now he does suffer from mental illness. We can all say and agree he has publicly said this himself. However, every time something comes up with him, we automatically say we automatically associate that with his mental illness.
Blaming everything he does on mental illness.
Yes, and having like his outbursts or being impulsive or however that may look like. Recently he's in the media due to some incident with his kids. He stated that for his daughter's birthday, he was not given the information. You can all look this up if you don't already know. But he wasn't given the information of where the party was going to be. He wasn't invited. Out of this, out of that. So they.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm sorry.
So he just showed up out of nowhere because I think Travis Scott gave him the address. Ended up giving him the address. He showed up and whatever and was there at the party uninvited. So of course it caused some, friction being that he wasn't supposed to be there. Then fast forward, well, before all of that, he supposedly bought the house next door to his ex-wife.
Okay, yeah.
And where his kids stay. And so people thought that was crazy or whatever. So his thing was, no, it's not crazy. My father, who Kanye is dating, his father I think they originated, like the family lived in Atlanta. His mom decided to move him to Chicago, and it caused the distance between him and his father. Like that's what caused his father to be out of his life was because of that distance or whatever. And so he was like, that's not going to happen. Like I know as an artist, I'm always on the road. I got to do this and that. When I'm here, I need to be as close to this is me paraphrasing and putting it into my own words. But
my kids as much as possible.
As possible and to see them. So I think it was his oldest child. She asked him to come over, come to the upstairs to see something. And he was told he couldn't go. So, that ain't gonna settle right with him.
Told about who he couldn't go.
The nanny or somebody at the house. So he couldn't go into
nanny
there.
Or somebody at Kim's house.
Yeah.
So
he couldn't go.
A man that he couldn't see his own children. Okay.
Go see what the little girl was trying to show him.
Okay.
Then it goes to the whole thing of him not wanting her on TikTok because she posted, well, all kids, like it's the trend. They all want to do the challenges and this and that. But he feels like she's too young to be on this platform and to be doing the things that I guess she's doing on there.
But from what I heard with that TikTok thing, that I guess it's no TikTok that she does without him.
Yeah.
So it's monitored.
Yes. However, and I'm just gonna say this. Now, she did show the house. Kim didn't know and got mad at her and started going off on her on live too. So that's the thing. Like you want to say it's monitored, but kids gonna be kids. They gonna do things. They gonna be sneaky. Like that's just them. You've been a kid. You know how that is at any age. You're gonna test the water and see what you can get away with.
I mean, the whole situation is well, I don't know if you're trying to get into the father thing because I'm thinking about the father thing, but I can also see the mental illness thing. And I think males, if you ask me, I think males, when it comes to mental illness, I think males, especially the so-called black males, have less support uh, when they are going through certain experience. Reason I say that because when we are looked at, like I said, girls, and I'm not trying to make this a gender thing, but girls and men are raised different. So when it comes to a man, you're looked at. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be able to take care of things, and we. It's like a lion. Nobody feels sorry for a lion. Mm-hmm. Because the lion is supposed to be the king of the jungle. He's supposed to be strong. He's supposed to have courage. He's supposed to be. So nobody cares about the lion's feelings. So I look that way. I look. With that said, I look to the black man as the lion. Nobody cares. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be doing. Everybody has their requirements of what the black man should be. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be that. You're supposed to be this. You're supposed to be that. And going through life and actually trying to this start off young because you're at a disadvantage already in this society. So this start off young and this going into what we just talked about with the whole Black History thing. This start off young, so everything is on your shoulders, and you trying your best to not only figure out who you are and where you stand and what you believe in, but also what's going on with the world around you. Okay, I'm getting challenged by the police. I'm getting my dad's not at home. I don't like the way I'm living. I gotta do something with my mom and my family because I'm young and I don't have a father at home. Then I gotta watch out for the world because just because of the color of my skin, I may get attacked and people look at me a certain way. So and then you go to work, you gotta get a job, you gotta do this, go to school. It's so much you gotta deal with. So much you gotta deal with, and all the pressure is on you. And a lot of men feel like especially in this generation, it's very hard in this generation. Meaning, who can I open myself up to? Who can I talk to? Who can I rely on? That's why I bring up trust. Like, and that's what the mental illness come in at because if you locked up and again you always told that you are strong or whatever, and everybody look at you to be strong, so you have to be strong not only for your family, but the people, your friends too, the people around you. So, and I'm saying this as a so-called black man, the pressure is real. The pressure is real. So, you go through uh, a lot of things, and go through mental battles of a lot of things that goes on mentally. Then I can just to see Kanye West, or not see, but hear the things you're saying about Kanye West, to have your children taken from you, and you've been through, like you said, my father not being there because my mom moved me away, and you're not even fully understanding that story.
Right. And that's why I wanted to bring it up because it's like, okay, well, you have the dads who are. I feel like he is a father who's trying to do the right thing, who's trying to step up and be there for his kids. However, it's barriers that's being placed, and so in certain cases, as we go back to the young black boys who may be raised in single home families, who fathers may be experiencing these same things, but they don't have a big platform or they don't have
Basically, the father side of the story.
yeah. So it it makes it hard because a child shouldn't think like, oh, I they shouldn't have grow up feeling that way.
They shouldn't have to choose.
Right.
I would say they should have to choose between mom and dad, and that for a child that's very hard. I'm supposed to choose between my mom and my dad, and like that's like I love them both. Mm-hmm. So to make me choose, like it's like okay, if I choose mom, I gotta be on her team, and I gotta find some way to go against dad because I'm on mom team. Yes. If I choose dad, then I gotta find some way to be mad at dad. I mean, mad at mom because I'm on dad team. But I don't want to be mad at neither because I love them both as mom and dad.
Right, and then the resentment comes because you're trying to also downplay any traits or anything that you may have of the one who you're holding that resentment towards. So it's which is hard because you like you said, you're a mixture of both. You're gonna have both of those characteristics. So you can't downplay them. You have to tackle and and basically front those things in order to heal and move forward because that's what plays on the mental. That's what plays on the spiritual. And and I'm bringing it back to Kanye because I think also with him, he's he's still holding on to grief with his mom and stuff and resentment that he has there. And I don't know about his father or the history behind there, but I'm hoping he was able to heal that relationship after losing his mother
I think.
or before.
Well, I played the as you heard, God is uh, and I know in that album he has to get a few things with his father, and then I'm not gonna go into what I know about Kanye West, so I just go over the basic, the what they call that, the top of the. I'm not gonna go in deep to the ingredients, but I'm stand on the top, the icing. I'm gonna stick with the icing.
Mhm.
So but his father is a minister or a pastor, which would give you that I guess you would say Christianity background.
Mm-hmm.
So his father is a minister. His father is a pastor, I would say, which give you that background. And I would say just telling this is and also being a child who experienced that uh, mom and dad splitting and not understanding what's going on. That's why it's very important as you grow up or when you feel like you're ready or whatever to challenge mom, to challenge dad. Like I need this story. I need to know what happened. I need to know why it don't work. Like I hate or I'm disgusted with this feeling of hating my dad and not liking my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm disgusted with this feeling of hating my mom and not liking my mom.
Mm-hmm.
No, you two guys, you two people are a part of me and what makes me, and I got characteristics of you both. So hating one of you guys is hating myself.
Exactly. Or not knowing who you are makes me not know who I am. And that's what goes to that piece back to the slavery component. I mean, Black history and slavery component of it all. People, and well, go continue.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, because it all ties and goes hand in hand. And
It
I
does.
think that's what some people don't understand or realize. It's not a thing of, oh, I just want to know about my slavery component or this and that. No, no, trust me. A lot of people who identify as black or African American or whatever the case may be, they tired of hearing that narrative. They over that narrative.
Or a lot of people who are so called black didn't have that slavery background.
But they don't know that. So that you only
I'm just saying it's a mystery. Like I said, we are so mixed in. Mm-hmm. We are so mixed in. And the only reason I'm saying that because a lot of us do not have that slavery background. And some of us do have that slavery background. Some of us don't know that some of us owned slaves at one point in time. Mm-hmm. Like some of us don't know these things, and that's why I said when we talk about those things, even when it comes to slavery, we think a lot of our traditions and a lot of our rituals came from slavery. I mean, they came from way back then. Or I saw a post where it said I guess it was the reason for Valentine's Day, or the reason why people jump over the brooms because they did it during slavery time because uh the white people or so-called white people wouldn't let them get married. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you don't do your research in history, you don't do your research in history and find out the truth. Understand when it comes to marriage, every nationality, every race, every nation had their own way or own ritual to marry somebody. Mm-hmm. So if they don't consider you a part of them, why would they let you marry the same way they do? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when they jump over the broom, that probably was a ceremony they did back in their native land. Mm-hmm. Or it was a part of them of their tribe. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just something that was just created because it was in slavery. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. Like take that.
But it's a piece of the story that's missing because that is something that is taught and that's been the story that you reading or the story that's been taught now has been misconstrued or whatever from the what the story really is.
And that's why I say. That's why I say when I'm always like teaching or when I'm always giving information, I'm always telling like, don't take my word for it. Don't take like study, like really research, really find out who you are or what you are and what you come. Like talk to like we just talking about. Talk to both parents. Parents, what was granddad like? What was grandma like? Like that's one thing I commend about my mom's side because I have to I actually seen my granddad and had lots and lots and lots of talks with my granddad.
Mm-hmm.
I actually spent time with my well we call her Big Ma. I don't know about anybody else, but we call her Big Ma. And I actually spent time with them and understood their history and their background and understood that. And my granddad used to tell me, I'm not African, I'm Cherokee. I'm Native American. Mm-hmm. And if his hair was even with some of my cousins have Native American in their bloodline. So I know you have some people who say, well, we all came from Africa. Oh, I get that. We were that's facts. We were the first people. Mm-hmm. I get that, I understand that, but you're trying to put slavery on everybody. Mm-hmm. Or trying to put them in that mental state of mind, you don't understand. A lot of us don't understand that uh you putting that pressure or that depression on the next generation. Exactly. So we try, and you got a whole generation. I know this generation. It seems like this generation is trying to move out of that and trying to raise up like kings and queens. Mm-hmm. And look, you are better than what they say you are. Yes. And so to keep pushing that every single time, you're keeping us bound, and we keeping us in this chain that we can't break out of. Mm-hmm. It's not that we're trying to forget it, but that's not the only subject we want to speak about.
Now I can remember in elementary, to go back to the Black History component, we had to do an assignment where we asked our grandparents or those who are older our family tree. Yeah. To get that information. Mm-hmm. And to get the ties of it. But some places, some people aren't able to go too far back. Mm-hmm. I was raised in a single parent household with my mother, my grandmother, and my great grandmother. So I got there, I was able to get that component of it. Whereas on my father's side, I didn't really know too much. I only knew, what I knew from him, which was very little, or what my mom knew. Mm-hmm. So sometimes that component, and I think that's something that you should do, even if it's not a school assignment. Like you should sit down and do with your kids. You should know who you are. As a matter of fact, in the Bible, know who you are. Back in the day, the Bible actually had a family tree where you wrote those things. Like if an individual got married, they were gifted that, and it had like the family tree of his side and your side. I mean, the family Bible, I think is what it was called.
But either way, the thing about the Bible, because we are so linked, like I said, we are so linked to. I use myself. I love the city of Chicago. I love it. So everybody say, "Where you from?" You say Chicago. It's like you rep Houston. You rep Houston. I rep Chicago or whatever. But the thing about that time, when you use, and I'm sorry for the people who don't believe, but I use ancient history. In that time, and it still is, you are whatever your father is. So mm-hmm. Whatever your father was, that's who you was. Mm-hmm. So whatever your father was made of, that's what you are. Mm-hmm. You are whatever your father is. That's why you get your father last name. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, that's why you get your father last name. We all know biology 101. The mother holds the egg, but the seed comes from the man. Mm-hmm. So, not saying you don't get careless of both, but in that time, you was whatever your father is. So that's why it's important to get both sides. And then once you get both sides, you start to understand, okay, why I act the way I act, why I move the way I move, why mm-hmm. I think the way I think. Mm-hmm. Because then once I break that down, that's when I'm able, like we're talking about, that's when I'm able to break chains.
Yes, and that's the key. we're trying to break these
That's
chains.
when you're able to break chains. That's when you're able to break.
That's when you're able to walk in your union.
Right.
Like walk in you and know who you are.
Exactly. That's when you, like you said, we base on love, faith, and lifestyle. So that's when you able to move the way you want to move, and you feel untouchable.
Yeah.
Or unstoppable, because nobody can steer you the wrong way. Nobody can turn you the wrong way, because I know who I am. I know where I came from. I know those things. So one question I want to ask you, Jaleesa, which we had to talk about earlier. Do you feel we're talking about mental illness, and also Black History? So one thing I'm going to ask you: do you feel, not to put male versus female, but do you feel? I feel like you was going in this direction, and we got passionate about our current subject. But do you feel females get more support than males, or do they just handle it completely different?
I feel that they handle it completely different. I There are resources out for both components, and it goes back to what you were saying, that males are, they have this way. As a young boy, I have brothers. You talk, don't you? Better not cry. You better not do this and that. Mm-hmm. So that's that toxic masculinity that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. But what I was saying. So, like you were saying, we're taught, you're as a man, you're taught things different than as women, or so you hide it, or you learn to mask it in such a long time that when you don't know how to vocalize or ask for or seek for the help or support you're needed.
We don't know how. I won't say we don't know how, because we do know how. And the reason I say I do know how to express myself. I do know how to tell people what's wrong with me. The problem is, like I said, we're talking about Black men going through mental illness. The problem is, that's why I bring up trust. The problem is, it's hard for me to trust. Meaning, if I'm opening up, I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And as a man, we are taught to be strong. Mm-hmm. Meaning, as a man, especially right now, the stage I am in, as a man, I am taught to protect everything of mine. My wife, my kids. Meaning, I'm the fence. Mm-hmm. I'm the front line. And if you break through me, then you have the way with my family and everything. So as a man, it's hard to find out who can I be that vulnerable with. And like I said, especially in today's age.
Well, I would say that women, they feel the same way, but it's just taking I guess a chance. But if you know you really need the help, well, you know you need the help. You need to figure out certain things.
But with that said, I do feel like y'all got more support. Y'all got more help. Like I said, when nobody, like I said, because we are taught and programmed that way to be strong, and everybody view us that way, nobody cares. Meaning, I don't care if you're hurt or sad, because okay, you're a man, get over it, pick yourself up. As for a female, they're more caring and more sensitive about, oh, what's wrong with you? Why you? As a man, okay, get up.
Mm-hmm. So I think within males, y'all have to create that for you all. That's something y'all have to stand up and create for you all. Like, okay, bruh, it's okay for you to have this moment, or if you feeling this way, it's okay for you to seek the help.
If I always, like, if you can find you, and I'm talking about a real brotherhood, or if I that's why this is also, like we was talking about earlier. That's why it's also so important to have that father figure. Mm-hmm. Meaning, okay, one thing I love, and not calling him my father figure, but one thing I love is I had that communication with my pastor. Mm-hmm. Meaning the things I went through, and because I know he went through the same things, because not only that he was the same skin color as me, but because he was doing the same thing I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I know I could come to him and ask him, okay, how did you deal with this? How did you deal with that? What about this spiritually? What about this spiritually? And then how did that affect your mentally? About you being leader of the church. Did you ever wanted to quit? Did you ever wanted to walk away? Did you ever feel like giving up? So I had those talks. So it's also important to have that brotherhood, but it's so key also to have that father or that counselor or that mentor. That mentor. And I feel like a lot of us that's growing up now, or a lot of so-called black young boys, don't feel like they have that mentor, or don't feel like they have that brotherhood because it's been taught what everybody get yours.
Mm-hmm.
We've been separated. Everybody get yours. You get yours. I'm gonna get mine. Everybody chase the bag, and that's why I go back to what I said in the beginning. It's almost like we don't own anything because we always giving. We always selling out. It's always about the paper. It's all about the paper. Money on my mind. Yes, money is needed, but it's not the most important thing. Money is needed, but it's not the most important thing. If you don't have your mental together and your spirit together and everything, all of that, everything else, some of the richest people in the world, richest people in the world using Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the richest are miserable. So I think that this is a very important topic. I think we need a coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I think we would do a part two as well to this and get some more like mental health um, providers or resources. We would like to provide that because I do think it's important for males to know that they do have that support and there are resources out for them, out there for them.
and like you were saying with the well, the trust thing with the male and female thing. And the only reason I feel like y'all have more support, not only saying I'm saying like you're using with Kanye West. It is, and I'm not trying to be. These are facts, y'all. I'm not trying to be male versus female. I really want the household to be together.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. But like you just said, the way the society is built, it pushes away the father. Meaning, when it comes to that, no matter what, the kids is automatically given to the mother. It is a law. And like you just said, fathers or men, you have to fight. You have to fight for what you want. And that's why it's so important. That's why I share what I share, to stand your ground, to have morals, to know who you are, because you are the foundation of this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything starts with you. So if you're not grounded, if you don't have morals, you can't think for yourself, or you won't have a hard time in the society because everything is here to pull you and mislead you and guide you and use you. So you got to have that mentality of I know who I am strong, I am this, I am that. Not always being reminded, going back to our beginning of our topic, not always being reminded of my turmoils, but remind me of you are strong. And even with, like I said, with the woman man thing, a lot of times, like I just said earlier, man, we go through so much that a lot of people do not understand. And that's not only at work, but that's on the streets, and then sometimes you got to deal with it at home. And that's why I come with that trust factor. Meaning, I'm not only getting put down at work, I'm not only getting put down at the streets, and because sometimes my woman don't know who she is, and she's dealing with what she's dealing with, she take that out on me, and I also got to deal with that.
Exactly. So that's true. That's the reality of it. I actually talk about that in my book, Confessions of a Pick Me Girl. Yes, now available.
Make sure you get your copy.
Now available on Amazon. But I talk about that within the storyline about daddy issues, about generational curses, and about a young woman just trying to figure out who she is. Um, I think it's I think you say this all the time, and in my counterpart on the topic we talked about about college days. But an individual should know themselves before getting or wanting to build with a family.
No, I say that all the
So
time.
I guess I didn't gotta eat the words that I chew the words that I spit out
And it's
because
not that I'm just coming against you, babe. I'm just
no,
showing
it's
you.
not. I'm not
It's
saying you coming against me, but what
or
I'm
start an
saying
argument, but it's very important.
what I am saying is like you're right. Individual, it's a process of getting to know who you are, accepting those that it accepting for it for what it is, and moving forward. I think
Hmm.
that's the hardest part is getting out the unstuck. What
Hmm.
goes back to Black History Month, getting out of the unstuck or the programming of what it is that you've been taught for so long and learning how to move forward or how to create the life that you not only deserve, but you God put in for you, you
Hmm.
know? So yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm saying. We have to understand using MJ, using us, and it's something I understand. And guys, like, I don't know if Jaleesa called me a nerd or not, but I love research. I love research, and the thing I understand we both when we got together, we both had the same dream. But I understand too. I understand as a man having morals, being the foundation of this relationship. I understand that we both coming with baggage.
Mhm.
Uh, not only her coming from a single parent household, but me being in a single experience being in a single parent household, but also experience having two parents there. So I understand both sides. Then I understand the vision. I had a vision. I had a goal. Meaning I know who meaning I find out who I was. I know who I am. Now I'm able to build this thing with this person, and help her grow, and help us become what we want to become. And it's not that, like I said, she probably had a hard time with it, and sometimes still having a hard time with it. But you gotta believe, and I'm talking to the ladies, especially you got a good man with you. You probably at 88, 85. Nobody's 99%.
Mhm.
Nobody's 100%. But he's probably at 80, 85, 88. You gotta know that he is trying his best, because the main thing he wants is for you to have everything you want.
Mhm.
That's the main thing he wants. So he want to see you progress at the same time. He got to progress, because he's thinking about, okay, not only himself, but I want my whole family to look good. I want the whole thing to be good.
Mhm.
So it's steps that got to be taken, and the sacrifices got to be taken. And most likely, to believe it or not, it's the man that got to do most of the sacrifices. Even though the woman may not, I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying women don't have to sacrifice. Both have to sacrifice,
Mhm.
but it's a sacrifice that men have to make that a lot of women don't understand, or a lot of people that don't understand. If you haven't, you're not going through it, because every day he's being challenged. Every day he's being challenged, and every morning he's being challenged. So sometimes he has to. I mean, he has to be strong. He has to be strong. But as a woman, you should also see that dang, my baby is out here trying. My baby is out here working. My baby is out here trying to complete our mission. Carry our vision.
Mhm.
So as a woman, I should be able to. And this is what is so important. I tell Jaleesa all the time. Look at me. Look at me. Don't only look at me. Feel me. Feel me. So because you're connected that way when you're in this relationship. You're connected that way. Feel me. Look at me. And be like, okay, I need to console my man. It's important for you ladies to be sweet like honey. We need that, because we're getting challenged every day to come on to some loving. It don't gotta be sex. It could be a hug. It could be a kiss on the cheek. It could be you sitting next to me. It could be anything to relieve my mind away from everything I'm thinking about. Like some comfort. And in today's age, especially with this all this stuff that's going on, comfort, comfort and love is hard to find. Comfort is love. and love is hard to find. So, you got anything else, Jay?
No, that's all.
So I hope y'all enjoyed this topic. I hope you receive something. Uh, not only receive it, not only learn, but I hope you share it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Share it as well. I think it's an important conversation that needs to be had. And I want to say not only for the black community, but for everyone.
Yeah.
We all need love. We all need support. Uh, love, faith, lifestyle is our motto. It's what we stand on. Um, I don't know what you believe in, but we believe in the only true and living God, who is the head of our life. So we just ask y'all to stay encouraged, man. Stay positive. Love one another. That's the most important thing to do. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what your situation is. If you love one another, all that will go away.
Yeah,
Love conquers all.
it does.
Love conquers all. So if Jay don't got anything else, we are out of here until next time. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
Kansas. God is, He is my all and all.
MJae Podcast.